Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Tyler here, and in the previous episode, we left off with this application, and in today's episode, we are going to be building this navigation bar, as well as getting the minus button and the X button to actually minimize the application and close the application. We'll also be adding this nice little border effect, and then in the next episode, we'll get the color scheme, as well as an extra 2 progress bars to display our stats. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to want to do to get this type of layout is get the Unicode characters or icons that we're going to be using. In this case, I'm not going to be using SVGs. Instead, I'm going to be using all UTF Unicode characters. And what this means is we don't need to deal with any SVGs, nothing like that, since the minus symbol, close, and the hamburger menu all exist as Unicode characters. So let's get started. Lastly, we'll have the color palettes, and I will have this color palette linked in the description if you want to use it. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to want to do is actually create this right here. So as you can see, it is a navigation bar, has a height, and you can see we're going to have these in line. I'm going to split them into 2 separate sections, so let's actually get this all coded up. First thing I'm going to want to do is create a left dash nav section and a right dash nav section. And these will basically split up our left nav and our right nav. What we're then going to do is in the left section, I'm going to create a span tag, give it a class of nav link. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to copy this character. It's ampersand pounds X 2630. And what this will do, what you'll see, is if I show the app now, you'll see right over here, we have a hamburger menu. So that's perfect. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this span with the class of navlink, and I'm going to paste it 2 times. I'm going to grab the minus character, which is ampersand minus, and I'm going to paste this in here. And then I'm going to grab the close button, which is just ampersand $10006. And what you'll see is when we look at the app, we have the hamburger, the minus, and the X. So now let's go into the styles.css. And right here at the top, I'll just create a comment for navigation. Okay. So for the nav bar, right now it has a height of 0, but let's give it a height of 40 pixels. And what you'll see is now it looks like this. Okay. So instead of having a background color of 222, I'm going to come over to colors.co, find a nice palette, and I'm going to go with this ruby color because I think it looks really good. And I'm going to come over here and copy the hexadecimal value. Then, by simply pasting that in and saving, you'll see the colors changed. Next, I'm going to set the color to white, which will make the inner elements a white color. And then I'm going to give it a display of flex. And what you'll see is this will now push the content in line. Next, I'm going to do align content, and we're going to do space between because we want to push these to the outside of the container. So we do space between, align items, item space between. And display flex, line items, justify content. Oh, it's justify content, space between. There we go. So yeah, this will push these to the side. Next, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to grab our .left nav and our .right nav and style those up. So .left, actually, I don't think we're going to need them styled, but I don't think we will. So we'll do .nav-link, which, if you recall, is just where we put our characters. And in here, I'm going to do not color, I'm going to do a padding of 15 pixels, because we want there to be 15 pixels in all directions here. And what we're going to also do for the nav is we're going to do align items center as well. And what this will do is it'll center them vertically as well as horizontally. So we have that. We're going to do padding of 15 pixels. We're going to give it a cursor of pointer. And what you'll see is now we have the pointer. And I'm going to set the font size to 1.4 EMs, or rems. And what you'll see is this makes this nice and big. And I'm actually going to set it a little bit smaller. 1.3 should do just fine. And there we go. I think that looks pretty good. Next, what we're going to want to do is actually get rid of this current navigation bar. So this current navigation bar that shows the icon and these, we're going to want to get rid of that. And to do that, we're going to go into the index.js file and simply do frame of false. And by simply doing frame of false and then restarting the actual application, what you'll see is we have this. But we can't really drag the app, and we want to have it to where we can drag this around. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the style.css, and we are going to set the, I actually totally forgot, so I'm going to look at draggable Electron app. And this is if you ever forget something, you don't be afraid to look it up. For example, on the Electron.js documentation, they have really good documentation. And I know that we're going to need this right here. We are going to need -webkit, -app, -region, and drag. So I'm going to just paste this for the body we'll do. So we'll do drag. And then for the elements themselves, we'll do no drag. So what I did here is for the body, I said we could drag the application. And then for elements that we don't want to, or elements we want to click, we'll do no drag. And what you'll see is now we can drag the application, but we can't drag here because now we can click it. So that's perfect. Next, I'm going to add a nice little hover effect by basically just inverting the colors when we hover over that. So I'm going to do .nav link hover. And I'm going to say the background color will be white, and the color will be this D81159, which will now make it look like this. So we have a nice little hover effect, and I think that looks pretty good. What we're going to want to do is actually now implement the actions for these buttons. For example, the minus button, when we click it, we basically want this to happen. We want it to minimize down here. And when we click the X button, we want it to maximize. So to do that, let us go into the HTML and add an on-click button. So what we're going to want to do is I'm going to give these an ID of minimize, and an ID of close app. And then inside of our renderer.js, actually I'm going to create a new JS file. So to do that, I'm going to create a JavaScript folder inside of the app directory. And then I'm going to create one called window.js. And in here, we're going to have a few functions. So first thing we're going to want to do is get our minus button is equal to documents.getElement by ID. Document.getElement by ID minus, and we're going to want to get our close button. So it's minimize and close dash app. There we go. So we have minimize and close app. And what we're going to want to do is add event listeners. So minus.add event listener. We're going to listen for the click events, and we're going to call minimize, which is a function I have not created, but I'm going to create that right now. And then we'll have close app.add event listener, and we'll call close app. There we go. And then I'm going to create these functions right here. So close app is a function, and function for minimize. There we go. So when we click these buttons, these functions will be called. We're also going to need to bring this JavaScript file down here. So I'm going to do script source./js window. I'm going to add a defer and type of module. There we go. Okay, now that we have that out of the way, what we're going to want to do is actually close the application. And if you recall from a couple episodes ago, to actually communicate between the main process and the renderer process, we need to use our Ipc Bridge. So over here, I'm going to create an object called window, and I'm going to do close, which is a function that's going to call Ipc render.send app slash close. And what this will do is it'll send a message from the Ipc renderer to the main process with app slash close. So I'm also going to create one for minimize. And instead of app slash close, it'll be app slash minimize. There we go. And that should be it for our preload scripts. So we can, I'll leave this open so you can see it for a few seconds longer. But basically what we're doing is we'll be able to call app.window.close to close our application and vice versa for minimize. So over here in the window script, what we can now do is app dots, not app from Electron, app.window.close. And then we'll have the same thing over here. app.window.minimize. And the app.window is referring to this in the preload script. App is referring to our API object. Window is referring to this, and then close and minimize. So there we go. Now that we have that out of the way, what we're going to want to do is go into the index.js file. And this is our main process, remember. These files are for the renderer process, the window and the renderer, HTML, and the CSS. But the index file is the main process, where we can actually now listen for that event. So we'll do ipc main.on, and the event was app slash close and app slash minimize. App slash close. We're just going to listen for it, and when it happens, we're going to do window dot, actually for close, we'll just do app dot quit. And what this will do is it'll gracefully quit the application. And then for app slash minimize, what we're going to do is instead of doing app.quit, we'll do window.minimize. M-I-N-I-M-I-Z. There we go. And what this will do is it'll just put it in the doc as it says right here. Okay. So now that we have this all out of the way, what we should be able to do is restart the application. And when we come up in here, if I click the minus button, you can see it just brought the app down there. And when I click the X button, it closes out of the application right here. So this is how we can actually implement our custom Electron title bar. And as you can see, we can drag it around, click on buttons. This doesn't do anything yet, but we can minimize the application. We can close it, all of that. We can even resize it. And in the future episode, in the next episode, we'll implement this. We'll make the app have 2 more progress bars, and that'll be it. So if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.